And what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, this is the Dolphins AD Moore and the AD Max Korner as the Houston Texans has opened up their season under David Culley, and they started off with a victory. And tell you what, this score was probably a lot more lopsided than what it looks like and what it seems like. Not a whole lot of tricks and everything today. I tell you what, the Texans laid the wood to Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence, and the rest of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for a lot of folks that thought this team was going to look like an expansion team, I think they're woefully been. I think that's been woefully understated, and I think it's been misstated. And I think this team, this is a team walking around with a chip on the shoulder. Yeah, I realize this was the Jacksonville Jaguars today. I realize that Trevor Lawrence is a rookie starting against one of the most unique and most dynamic defensive coordinators and coaches in the NFL, and Lovie Smith. But the fact of the matter remains that the Texans today really didn't throw a lot of what I felt like complicated and Lovie Smith coverage and everything. The matter remains that the Texans today really didn't throw a lot of had a little feedback that in. But I tell you what, as we get started, let's go ahead and just hear a little quick David Culley's initial response to the Texans and what they were expecting today from not from the Jacksonville Jaguars, but from the Houston Texans and the team that he's now coaching. In fact, this is his first head coaching assignment, but they came out and was able to get a Texan something to go home about and cheer about today.
Let me just say this. This football team expected to win. We expected to win. We're not surprised simply because we played good football today. I thought at the very end we lost our composure a little bit with some penalties, but this football team expected to win today. And we knew if we did the things that we had been practicing, we did the things that are winning football, that we'd have a chance to win the game, and we did that today.
As Coach Culley mentioned, the fact that no, they weren't surprised. Now, what was interesting today, and I'm going to bring in the football writer and author from the Gilmore Mirror, Elwin Henderson. Getting ready to bring him on. He got him sitting in the green room. In fact, he's driving back up 59 now. I hope he's not speeding because he's heading back to East Texas. He's normally the beat writer out of East Texas. We've been knowing him for a long time, and we're gonna chop it up to see what was his initial impressions about the Texans today. But let's face it, folks. I always felt like, and I stated this from the very beginning, the Texans, yes, they can win with Tyrod Taylor. Is he Deshaun Watson? No, and anybody else. But I think that build this offense around him. They had a nice assortment with the running backs and everything today. That I felt like that they were. This is a team that's really they got an attitude about them, and they got an attitude the fact because you got 30 plus players that's new to this team this year. And so they're coming out with an attitude about them, with a chip on their shoulder, and like they said, we're professionals, and we're gonna. Now, have I put them in the Super Bowl yet? No, I'm not that crazy. I'm not gonna step out on that limb. But as we bring Elwin Henderson in, who's driving down 59, Elwin, pop on in here. What was your initial reactions to the Texans ball club today as you driving down 59?
Well, the first thing, AD, very similar to you, as you know. Just about all the professional, so to speak, NFL writers were projecting the Texans at 1-16, just because of everything that's gone on with Deshaun Watson and all of the changes you've already pointed out. But I felt all along, as soon as we know that Lovie Smith is coming to town. I know you and I have talked about it before. I'm from Gilmer, Texas. That's 15 miles north of where Lovie grew up. And so,
Big Sandy,
right. Texas. I'm a year older than Lovie, and I used to watch his high school playoff games. And of course, I followed his career when he got into coaching as assistant coach in the NFL and as the head coach of Chicago Bears. Of course, being involved with Tony Dungy down there in Tampa Bay. And Lovey is just, I've always said, one of the top three defensive coordinators in the National Football League. I put him up there with Wade Phillips. And, he's always known what to do defensively. And I had no doubt, I told everybody from the get-go, I said, with Lovie Smith in Houston, Texas, you're going to get to a situation where can they score enough points to win every game? No, I don't think they can win every game. But that defense that Lovie Smith puts on the field, and you saw it most of preseason, you saw it today with the interceptions they got, and 3 and 4 or 5 guys around the ball carrier receiver every time. Lovie Smith's defense is going to keep them in every game this season, I fully believe.
What was your impressions of Tyrod Taylor today? I don't think personally. Some folks say, well, he was a game manager. Not for Tyrod. Tyrod Taylor has never occurred to me what you call a game manager. Tyrod Taylor can be a very explosive. He's a dangerous quarterback. Even at and here's the thing about it. Just because he's 31, but he's a seasoned veteran, and he's just not here biding time. I think that the fact that the plays that Tim Kelly and them had it out there for the day, and then the assortment of the different backs and everything with David Johnson and Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram, led the way. He carried the load. They had 26 carries, like about 85 yards, and they had a couple of little tricks. Had a wildcat option in there with a scoring off of Philip Lindsay today in there. But for the most part, like I said, those guys are not listening to everything to what we're talking about on the outside. All they're worried about is that guy standing next to them on either side of them in the locker room. So I'm just wondering, what grade would you give, say, Tyrod Taylor today, and knowing what you know about him and what you've seen from him in the past?
I thought he had as good a game as I've ever seen him have in the NFL. I'd have to give him an A-. Yeah, there was a little bit of struggle early on in the first pass or two, but man, he threaded the needle on 3 long passes today, and 2 of them I thought were exceptional throws under not the best of circumstances. I was extremely impressed.
Yeah, also in the fact that here's the thing about it. He's a very understated type person. His personality, he's not a big personality type person. If you're looking for a big personality, that's not Tyrod Taylor. But and as a lot of folks, and as he stated today in his presser, he said, "I lead by example." He said, "I'm not the rah-rah type. I'm not going to be the rah-rah type." He said, "But I lead by example," and that's what you sort of I can admire that, and I think the guys in that locker room are rallying around him, and they, like I say, they can win, and they feel like they can win, and after some of the looking at some of the scores, the way things are going today. You know what it is in the NFL, Elvin? Every Sunday is a different Sunday. And like I say, injuries and everything else, NFL stands for not for long. So you may not be so popular for long, but for right now, as like David Culley said today, we're going to enjoy this for 24 hours. And tomorrow, hey, it's not like we go back to 0-0.
That's very true, AD. And, the thing about it was, I think you and I talked about it when training camp began. I was very impressed with David Culley that first day of training camp. And, I've got a lot of friends, and I'm sure you do too, that I visited with after that, and they're like, oh, man, he's making this sound like they're going to be such a great team. He's got to sound positive, but you wait till they open the season. Well, I think what was quietly going on behind the scenes, just like you said, the players started believing in what Coach Culley was doing, what Lovie Smith was doing, what all their position coaches were doing. And yeah, there was a little bit of that rah motivational stuff going on, but it obviously worked. And now that team got the victory today, I think you're going to see them continue to improve. Now, obviously, they would have much rather, if they had created the schedule, not had to go play Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns next Sunday. But it is what it is, and they'll be prepared to play.
Well, I concur. Let's put it like this. And that's one thing I've noticed. I don't think you're going to see a Houston Texan team, and I think this is some of the criticism in the past with Bill O'Brien. They didn't look prepared. So far, and I know this is just 1/17 of a season, But even in the preseason, and I know what Brady and them done to him after but that was Brady, that was preseason. But
I
I
bet.
think that whole mindset and that whole focus. This is a ball club. These are a bunch of guys that's coming in there, and they sort of going like, you know what, we can play. We are professionals. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm gonna do it, and just and watch our performance on the field, because it's one thing that Cully referenced to today in this press is the fact that, hey, we're a team. Coach, we found this out. And David Cully got the ball from Brandon Cook. He got the game ball, and when we asked that today, he would not admit the fact that they had gave him the game ball. They asked him who got the game ball, and he said the Texans got the game ball today.
Right.
He wouldn't admit to it. For all of whatever little bravado, first game out, and hey, I beat my showdown with Urban Meyer, and really that was the way this game was going to be portrayed. Nobody gave David Cully snowball and hell chance today, because they were going up against Urban Meyer. Everybody, the whole footage was about this whole pedigree of Urban Meyer, the national championships. Only one problem: Alabama plays in the SEC. They don't play in the NFL.
Yep.
Okay, so that let's go ahead and dismiss with that. This is the NFL now, and so we're going to see. We're going to see how the Jacksonville Jaguars can progress up to this point. But the one thing about it, David Cully has over almost 30 years experience in the NFL. He's got Lovie Smith he can rely on, as you stated, who was a Super Bowl, who carried a team to the Super Bowl that he can rely on. He's got other coaches around there that he can rely on, and let's face it, he doesn't look like a duck. He doesn't look like a duck out of water to me, at least not the way from what I'm looking at.
No, I would totally agree, and you kind of already alluded to it. The best college teams in the United States are not NFL teams. How many college coaches that were successful have we seen come into the NFL that fell flat on their face? And I'm not saying Urban Meyer is going to do that, but really, without a doubt, the only one that's really come in and proven, hey, I can make the jump with no problem, is Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, you're correct. But Jimmy Johnson didn't have to deal with a salary cap neither. Give him his due. But Jimmy Johnson didn't have to deal with a salary cap, which is what guys have to deal with now. So that the caveat's a little bit different, but you're absolutely correct. And then Barry Switzer took and then wrote the coattail of Jimmy Johnson to another Super Bowl. In fact, as we talk about it, I know this is going to hurt Chris Gardner's feelings, because we having to talk about that team up in Dallas, because he alludes to him as Cal whatever, but I'll let Chris defend his own self. But anyway, he could care less, but the fact that he could care less about a team being up there in Dallas. So, but anyway, with that, be that as it may. Hey man, I know you're on the road. I appreciate you jumping in here. Anything in closing that you want to just throw out for the folks? I know the folks that can look at reach you. I know you're at the Gilmer Mirror. That I know you filed your story today while I was downstairs doing the presser. You was already getting on the road, and I think you had already filed your story, correct?
Well, the only other thing that I would say, AD, is I think all of the so-called experts that were saying the Texans would win one game are going to be the laughing stocks, and their stock is going to go down. I really believe, from what I saw today, that we can expect Lovie Smith and that defense to continue to keep them in every ball game. And if they can continue to perform offensively like they did today, not every team they play is going to be Jacksonville. But I firmly believe that if they can stay relatively healthy and continue to improve each week, that this team might even surprise people and come close to a 500 season this year.
Okay. You haven't been drinking, right? I just want to make sure I know you're driving. I just want to make sure that some folks might think, I know you're driving. You don't drink and drive, so I understand. Hey,
No.
Before we go, let's talk about your book real quick. I know you presented me. What's the name of your book, and why did you write the book? And let's quickly plug your book before you get off.
Okay, my book is entitled a blessed life of dreams fulfilled, my life experiences. For years, I have had people, because I've started covering the Dallas Cowboys in 1977, and because I started covering the Houston Texans in 2002 when they began as a team in the NFL, and a few other things, nothing major, but a few other things that I've done through the years. I had friends begging me to write a book about my life experiences, because even friends of mine in Gilmer, Texas are like, I have no idea what you've really done. I just know you're on the road, you're traveling, and you do stuff for fun and all this stuff all the time. But we'd like to know. And I kept saying, nobody's interested in that. Well, as you know, I developed prostate cancer, was not going to have standard treatment because of the high, over 50% chance of major lifetime complications, that side effects that you'd never get over. And I said, unless I can find a non-standard treatment, I will not have treatment. And I had 2 urologists tell me if I didn't get treated, I'd probably be dead within a year, because my PSA had gone to 21.86 and should have been 4 or under. And because of all that, when I hadn't found a treatment, I finally said, okay, maybe I should go on and write this book. So I started writing it, and as I began to write it, it was really cool to me because I literally felt like I was living my entire life all over while I was writing the book. And then shortly after I began writing it, I found a non-standard treatment, did not end up with any side effects whatsoever, and it was a very minor procedure compared to standard prostate cancer treatments. So that was kind of the reason behind why I did it. And if anybody should be interested in a copy, it's available on Amazon.com, both in printed book version as well as ebook for Kindle.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know why you know the situation. You, like I say, man, I don't even remember. I know way back we've been you, Max said, the late Max said us, and I said I don't even remember when we met, man. So the thing about it, the fact that, this is what this corner is called. This is called AD Max Korner. That's my tribute to my guy. And like I say, you and I and all, we had a ball sitting up there together, covering the ball, covering football. And so it's been a long process, and it's my pleasure to say, call you a friend. And just, we done been up and down the road. We done met up at several Super Bowls. So we've had a lot of good times together. So I appreciate it. Hey, man, be careful on the road. Thanks for dropping in. And in closing, anything else you want to go in closing before we shut it down with you?
Hey, I appreciate you having me on, Max. I mean, you're talking about Max. I just got to throw in a word there too, and then I'll get out of your way and let you continue your show. But yeah, that was such a shock to all of us who've known him. As you know, Max and I, not nearly as long as you and Max, but we were friends, and it was so sad when that happened so suddenly at his passing. And, I miss the guy every day. But I do appreciate.
Whoop, I think we lost him there, Chris. But that's okay.
That's all right. Maybe he'll come back. But that's good stuff, man. You know a lot of people, Mr. Moore.
I've gotten around a little bit, Chris. I mean, I don't know if I can consider myself a stepper like you young guys and everything like that, man. But anyway, man, But if you get a chance to come back and close it out, yeah, I got the book, and like I said, I would encourage folks, even it's a read. It's got some heck of a pictures in there. I mean, I'm surprised by some of the stuff that's in Elwin's book and everything. In fact, Elwin, the last couple of years, he's been, of course, prior year with COVID and everything, but he's sort of been doing a red carpet treatment out there in Vegas. He does a big deal. He just came back from Vegas on, so he's a very unique and interesting guy. And let's put it like this. So it's good to say, hey, it's a friend and everything. So I'm glad I appreciate him taking the time out. When I saw him today, I said, hey man, come on, you're gonna be the first guest out. And he was like, what? But and I knew he could do the deal. I said, you're gonna be driving, but that's okay. That's okay. You be going up 59. You be getting back to East Texas, So, but I appreciate it and thank him for just coming on. But anyway, Mr. Gardner, I hope you weren't kicking the death side. I know you.
Oh no,
you're a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm not a fan of the Cowgirls. I won't change till I die. Nor will it change in perpetuity afterwards. In their afterlife, that will never change. They'll be the Dallas Cowgirls forever in my eyes. But you and I are part of this. Houston Roundball Review presents the AD Max Korner. Having Owen Henderson on the show. I just love technology. We're gonna get back and talk Texans in a second. But he was on this show as we're streaming live while driving, headed up 59, talking with you, discussing Texans, the Cowboys, and the friendship with Max Edison. This is a high-tech world, AD, Mr. Moore. This is what we're gonna do. This is an indication of things to come.
Without a doubt.
Let me add this, because I didn't do it at the beginning of the show, but it will be part of the show going forward in the beginning, because I forgot to do it. But with your permission, I'm going to say it now. To those folks who in years past said, y'all can't do this, or you shouldn't do this. You can't do this. You can't talk football. Y'all need a platform. Y'all can't do this, or I'll help you do it. Stick with me. Work with me. I'll help you do it. Never heard back from those folks. Well, Mr. Moore, you and I, to make, hopefully, as he looks down upon us, Mr. Max Edison proud, we are doing this now. We've created our own platform, and we're going to continue doing this going forward. You're going to cover the Texans, and I'm going to continue covering basketball, and we're going to do this and help it grow. And going forward, this is going to be a platform for guests and colleagues to come on your show, players as well, to talk football and Houston Texans. Welcome to the AD Max Korner.
Thank you. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we still got a little bit more time to go. Like I said, we're gonna get back to talking Texans, but the technology is there, and one thing is always interesting. What Max used to tell us, and we used to just sit there and joke about it. He said, this little creature right here. He said, we do more than just talk on it. And right now, the thing about it, like I said, this is that clip you saw with David Culley there a few minutes ago, just came off the phone. The technology is there, and like I said, we're not waiting on. We're not asking for. We're not what to say. It's better for ask for forgiveness and ask for permission. Tell you what, I'm not asking. We're not asking for permission anymore, because we got access, and with the access we have, we're gonna give it to you in a different brand, a different flavor. And it's going to be our takes, and it's going to be what we think unvarnished, the unvarnished truth. Are we going to be right all the time? No, never said we're going to be right all the time. I mean, I'm not Nostradamus. I'll play Nostradamus every once in a while, but that's okay. Will that be some arrogance about us? No, I don't.
Well, no, there will be for me. Yeah, for me. Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, okay. You can. I'll be. Hey, Chris, I put it like this. It's just like it's like me looking at a zero trap with a fullback coming through the zero trap, and I'm reading the play all the way. I already know what's coming. Right. So I'm gonna make the stop, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do it in my own fashion and do it my own way. And those that don't like it, I'm not gonna get up there and dance and prance, because you know what? It's another down. It's like I used to tell Max sometimes. We had an inside joke that, player, I just go put the ball on the goal line. We're gonna have goal line drill. You said what? I said, yeah, that's me. I put the ball on the goal line. This is practice. We gonna, I get the offense the ball on the goal line. You got to try to make try to score. And he said, you're rather arrogant, Mr. Moore. I said, no, I'm not arrogant. I'm just going to go in there and line up, and I'm going to keep you out the end zone. And in the same fashion, if I need to score from, like James Harrison did in the Super Bowl, go 99 yards or 100 yards with an interception at the end of the half, like the Steelers done in the Super Bowl. If I have to do that, I'll take it all the way back. So that, nothing prancing, nothing dancing, but that's it. But anyway, Chris, what are some of your thoughts. I know you're not a big football fan. I know you're round ball, but and quickly while we here, your alma mater has been accepted, and then I know we're gonna go back to the Texans, but your alma mater is now going to the Big 12.
Correct. Well, let me real quick. The little bit I saw of the Texans, when I flipped to it, they were up 14-0. I saw first quarter, bits piece of the first quarter, and how Tyrod Taylor looked impressed, and I was surprised. The offense clicked, defense played well, and they won the game. I think when I had you on Folks Talking Sports, you said the Texans would win this game.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And I should have chimed in with Elwin because I'm one of those. I'm not an expert in football, not at all, but I'm one of those folks who thought the Texans wouldn't win more than one or two games. So if I'm wrong, okay, I'm not getting paid to talk football. So, but I think you said at least 4 wins. You said 4-6, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 1 down, 3-5 to go. So kudos to you, sir. Regarding U of H in the Big 12, we know it's way past due. The Chronicle's Brian Smith reported Saturday evening that there was some discussion that to keep U of H out even now and just have UCF, BYU, and Cincinnati as members. And Tillman Fertitta had to step in and talk to some folks and make it happen for U of H to be that fourth addition to the conference. Wasn't any specifics discussed, but Brian T. Smith from the Chronicle wrote a column about it, saying that the Big 12, even as of, let's say, the last week or so, was considering adding just 3 schools and not U of H, which leads me to this. I would not be shocked come 5 years from now, 4 or 5 years from now, because this ties in what I'm going to say. Max Engel in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram wrote Friday or Saturday that U of H and TCU were very close to being invited to the Pac-12.
And that doesn't surprise me. I think you sent that to me, and I think my response back to you is say absolutely. Why? Because the primary reason. What are your 2 largest viewing markets in the state of Texas? The Dallas
DFW and
Metroplex.
Houston. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So I mean, and the folks out there on the West Coast, I mean, you would put the divide. If they put those 2 teams out there, they obviously would be in the eastern side of the where Arizona State, and the rest, and whatever the case might be, Utah, but then that gives the Pac-12 opportunity, and they've already been in to come into Texas and recruit anyway. But this gives them an entree to get the West Coast side of the team football shown, because for the most part, people here, once Texas and A&M and all those type of particular schools go to bed, once those teams are done, most folks cutting their TV off. They're not right. They're not watching that. They're not. I'm a football fanatic. I'll sit up and watch Hawaii and so watch those late games. The SCs and so forth. So but to them that they wanted to have a access to the Central Standard market that the Metroplex and the Greater Houston area would give them, plus with the recruiting. So that goes without saying. But back to the Texans, and like I say, no, folks. But like I said, we're not going. We'll be primarily driven by the Texans, but we can talk about a lot of other things, and we're just not going. As part of what my Twitter page, I'm a connoisseur of history, sports, and a lot of other things. It's not just strictly just the football. So, you might even get a little politics spoken here. Now, you really want to see me get arrogant.
Oh yeah, you want to see us get ignorant, arrogant. We'll talk about that. But yes, this is the Houston Roundball Review presents the AD Max Korner. And while AD and Ellen were talking, I was messing around with buttons on my end, trying to figure out how to make their screens bigger and try to get. And I'm learning things. Producing this will help me in my Folks Talking Sports with Andy Yanez and Willie Gibson. So I learned I can pull myself off the screen and y'all still talk. So this is gonna work for all of us, Mr. Moore.
Without a doubt. And speaking of Mr. Gibson, I was intending the Texans today. I wanted to know, was making sure wasn't nobody. Did they take all the sharp objects away from Ryan Day and everybody up there?
Well, he because I had to hit him up yesterday. He told me he is in the process of interviewing defensive coordinators for Ohio State. So,
well, they defensive coordinators at the University of Cincinnati, but they didn't want him anymore.
Right,
man. Hey, man,
amazing how that works.
Yeah. Hey, again, let me today. Under David Culley, got the first win under the David Culley era of the Houston Texans. Got off to a 37-21 victory over Urban Meyers, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jacksonville Jaguars today. And for folks that were shocked and think that's going to be the only victory, not. No, are they going to win 16 more? Not. But I tell you what, a lot of the chaos that we saw under the Bill O'Brien era on the sidelines and everything, a lot of the clock management issues and so forth. I think there are going to be some issues because we saw today with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, they had to call 2 timeouts within a matter. In fact, they called their first timeout, if I recall, with the first 11 to 12 minutes within the game, and then they turned around and had to call another timeout within another, say, 3 or 4 minutes of the first quarter. So by the time they got to the second quarter, if they really needed timeouts, they wasn't going to have them, and they were through with timeouts well before the end of the first half. And guess what? Timeouts don't carry over. But when you sort of start taking timeouts like that, and then some of the play call that came out behind them, well, you can see what's going on, and it sort of allude to some of the things that we've been reading and hearing about how this approach by Urban Meyer, and can he make this approach come from a collegiate coach to a professional coach? Well, that's 1/17 of a game down. They are back. Remember, we'll be back here next week. We'll let you know what time. It's a little bit different being at home because I was gathering tape and getting some reactions after the game. But stay tuned to Twitter, Facebook, and you will be knowing where the Houston Roundball Review presents the AD Max Korner, and yours truly, Adolphus AD Moore, will be here week in and week out. And tell you what, right now, there's going to be some road trips involved, and so we will be coming from some road trip sites as well as to bringing you to following the Texans. So without further ado, Mr. Gardner, I think we can wrap this puppy up, and let's wrap it up with a victory. And we'll probably get some theme music or something going on here.
Sounds good to me.
I'm old school. I'm just trying to figure out, I'm not sure if I'm where I'm going to come with it. I'm a big jazz lover, so I don't know if I'm gonna be coming with Count Basie, the Duke Ellington, or whatever.
Well, you and me both. We can. That's good for me. I got no problem with that.
Okay, then. All right, then, Mr. Gardner. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you for producing the show. Hey, and by the way, before we leave, Chris, give them throw in when is y'all folks talking sports? When do y'all come on now? Who y'all get?
Our next show will be this Friday, September 17th. At Fort Willie Gibson, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll be talking U of H, recapping their big win over Rice. No surprise there. Previewing the matchup with Grambling. Shouldn't be any issue there. But we're going to be talking sports, as it is. Folks talking sports, not just basketball. So if I may, as we close it out, sir, to the folks who are local radio, who say, oh, Chris, all he knows is basketball. I'm going to show you I know more than just basketball. So tune in to Folks Talking Sports. AD Moore of the AD Max Korner. You want to sponsor this show? Hit up AD Moore. There's a Twitter going across the screen. Sponsor our show, Folks Talking Sports. Hit me up on Twitter at VHR Review. We're going to do this. And one of the motivations for this, finally making this happen, is the memory of Mr. Max Edison. May he rest in peace. AD Moore, recap. Once again, the Houston Texans improved to 1-0 with 37-21 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. See you next Sunday on the Houston Roundball Review presents the AD Max Korner. Take care.
We out. Ciao.